In this video, guys, I'm going to rank every single Season 2 in Fortnite history from worst to best. Yeah, with the launch of Chapter 7 Season 2, we have a new Season 2 to rank, and I made this video about almost a year ago to the day, and trust me, my thoughts have changed a lot, especially on some of our recent seasons, so it only makes sense to redo this video. If you go on to enjoy this video, consider leaving it a like using code TYFRYZ in that Fortnite item shop, and let's get right into this one. You're gonna love it. At number 7, unfortunately today, guys, in last place, it is Chapter 1, Season 2, the Nights themed season, and, you know, it feels a little bit unfair to even compare this to any other Season 2 in history, really. Look, I mean, you did have some actual, like, kind of significant updates at the time. You had, mini shields, traps, suppressed pistol, chug jugs. You even had the massive like map rework at the time, which was Tilted Towers, Snobby Shores, Junk Junction, that type of thing. You know, those are some big updates, especially for back in the day when we weren't used to getting like massive updates like we get now. You had the introduction of LTMs for the first time, like Sniper Shootout. Battle Pass was it's whatever. I think the big thing here is, you know, this was not really a season that was super focused on like new content, right? Like, there's not enough content that would keep you around for an extended period of time. You were just playing the game because you were hunting the victory royale, and that alone was enough to carry you through the season into Season 3. I think we kind of saw with Fortnite OG, right? Like, how boring this season actually was once you remove nostalgia and once you remove like the thrill of getting a victory royale, because of course now you don't really care about getting a victory royale. Like, yeah, you want to get a win, but it just doesn't hit the same as, you know, when the first time you got one, when your hands were shaking, they were sweating, and you were so nervous, your heart was beating out of your chest. Like, a lot of us experienced that in, you know, Season 2, for example. So when it came back in OG and, you know, you're struggling to find shield everywhere, the damage on all the weapons is out of control, the shotguns, a gray shotgun is hitting for like 250. Like, you guys kind of get what I'm saying. Like, unfortunately, you know, when you remove nostalgia, it's not enough to compete with any of the Season 2s on this list. But that's saying a lot because the Season 2s are really, really good. Like, this is not a bad season at all. At number 6, and what I kind of believe is going to be a little bit of a hot take for this video, it is Chapter 5 Season 2. That is Myths and Mortals. Yeah, so kind of where do I start with this season? You know, when I think about Chapter 5 Season 2, I think about a great theme season, the Greek mythology theme. It was honestly a matter of time before they do this. Like, this theme had been leaked for years. You had a pretty solid battle pass. I thought Hades was a great tier 100. Remember, you had a medallion rework here. So in Chapter 5 Season 1, medallions would just give you shield over time, and then if you would stack more of them, you would get more shield over time. You know what I'm saying? Now, the medallions would come with abilities instead of just healing. The problem was they were poorly balanced in this season, right? The aspect of agility was by far, not even a question, the best, and none of the others were even close to it. Like, Ares' medallion was pretty bad. Zeus's medallion I thought was pretty bad. Like, you know, there's just nothing compared to the aspect of agility. That thing was absolutely broken. You also got introduced to what I would say is the best shotgun of all time. It's the Gatekeeper shotgun. That thing was absolutely insane. One of the best shotguns, if not the best of all time, which again acts as kind of a blessing and a curse, right? Because when it's in your hand, you feel unstoppable. But when somebody else has the Gatekeeper, it's just this shotgun completely destroyed the meta, right? Because it's just, you have to have this shotgun. No other shotgun even came close to the Gatekeeper. By the way, it never got nerfed over the entirety of Chapter 5, which is insane to me. I will give it its props because the new locations were done incredibly well. Like, those themes were amazing. Every location is completely genuine, feels unique, feels different, not like anything we've ever seen before. Like, the underworld and that entire biome there's just nothing like it in Fortnite history. You had some new items like the Thunderbolt of Zeus and the Wings of Icarus, which were cool on launch, and then after like 2 weeks you realized they're actually kind of trash. Also, don't forget about the Avatar collab. The Avatar collab was in this season, and in my opinion was really well done until waterbending became completely busted. I mean, ultimately for me, like, a decent season. I didn't like the Gatekeeper shotgun meta at all. The mobility felt kind of iffy. You know, if you went up against anybody who had the aspect of agility or just the green skulls in general, it was complete GGs, and I don't like that. The Season 2s are absolutely stacked, so this isn't a bad season at all. It's just not strong enough for me to put it any higher up. At number 5 today, guys, that is going to be Chapter 3, Season 2, Resistance. Now, Resistance, I don't think is a terrible season, but I go back to Chapter 3 and I think, what season would I rather go back to? Resistance, or let's say something like Chapter 3, Season 1. For me, it's Season 1. And so, you know, when a Season 2 is not even the best season in its chapter, you know, how much higher can I put it on this list? I feel like, obviously, I've got to address the elephant in the room, and probably the reason why this season gets a lot of the notoriety that it has has, and that's because of Zero Build, right? Chapter 3 Season 2 introduced Zero Build to the game. That completely revolutionized Fortnite. Like, without Zero Build, Fortnite is nowhere near where it is today. Like, completely changed the way people play the game. It opened the door to so many players who maybe couldn't keep up with the building aspect of the game, but still loved what Fortnite had to offer at its core. And I don't think it's ridiculous to say that, you know, this might be the best update in Fortnite history, adding Zero Build, and it's really one of the reasons why I had to rank this season where I did. It would be lower without the introduction of Zero Build, and remember, they forced everybody to play Zero Build at the beginning of the season. Also, remember, with this season, we got the introduction of big-time movement mechanics, like tactical sprinting and mantling, which today are core aspects of how the game is played. Battle Pass-wise, kind of weak, just not my favorite. I really dislike the tanks being around the map, the armored battle bus being around the map. The combat SMG, I remember being absolutely insane at its peak, one of the best weapons of all time. You also had a ton of map changes throughout the seasons. Like, I absolutely love the blimps for constant mobility. You know, I look back and I just think of a messy loot pool. You had a ton of weird items that were all over the place. You had airstrikes, the Anvil rocket launcher, the LMG, choppas. You had balloons in there. The railgun and recon scanner came back for some reason. The collision live event was absolute peak. Like, storyline in general was really good in this season, I think. Look, again, like a decent Fortnite season, a good live event to cap it off. I don't think it's enough to put it any higher up on this list. At number 4 today, guys, it's our brand new season. That's Chapter 7 Season 2 Showdown. Now, I want to keep this very, very brief because I literally just made like an entire 15+ minute video talking about my thoughts on this season. So if you watch that video, you know, I don't want this to just be a repeat of that. I think the big things are, you know, I think the way that we look at this season down the road is going to be judged on how good the new weapons and updates are. Because remember, like, we are only in Act 1 right now. There's technically 2 acts, so there's a good chance by the end of this season we could get 10+ new items and weapons. You know, that is a really good sign for a season. But right now, I mean, even on launch, we only had 2 new weapons. And, you know, knowing that the whole rivalry system out of game is being forged, it's being faked by Epic Games. We saw that the Foundation team is getting a 1.2x buff multiplier onto their rivalry wins, which, you know, kind of is going to leave a bad taste in players' mouths when it doesn't feel like an even competition. The whole point of this season is the rivalry system, but unfortunately, it just has kind of turned out to be Bounty Boards 2.0. The map changes have been really good. The Battle Pass is really good in my opinion. It's just we need a little bit of work on that gameplay. And so right now, as it stands, is this a top 3 Season 2 of all time? I really don't think so, but that's also because the top 3 Season 2s in history, I think, are literally all top 10 seasons this game has ever seen. So let's just get right into those now. At number 3 today, guys, it is Chapter 6 Season 2 Lawless. And it is so funny going back and watching the video where Chapter 6 Season 2 was brand new and I was talking about it. And on launch, Lawless was, in my opinion, just not a fun experience. Nothing that was added. You had like the recon scanner thing that you would throw on the ground. I forget what it was called. You had like the porta cover, like the kneecapper. Like, there wasn't a ton new on launch. And then we got some big time great updates in Lawless. And that's why for Showdown, I'm saying the way that we rank this season going forward is dependent on how good these new items and features and weapons that we get throughout the season is, because it makes a big deal. Like, Lawless on launch as compared to Lawless at the end of the season is just a completely different season. I mean, the exotic update, the Lawless exotic weapons literally changed this season. There's no other season in Fortnite history where we have gotten 10, 11, 12 fresh, brand new exotics in a single season. The Dilbit mechanic, another mid-game objective that is fantastic. Some really good mythics added back, like Brutus's minigun, but some new ones, like Midas's Gilded Eye drum gun, which is probably a top 10 weapon in this game's history. Yes, the kneecapper is annoying. I'm not going to deny that at all. But it's funny because I look back at Chapter 6 and I think to myself, like, I think Lawless was probably the best season from Chapter 6, which is ridiculous to say because I was a hater of this season when it launched. But yeah, as it currently stands right now, Lawless, I think, is the 3rd best Season 2 of all time. Don't get me wrong, it did have its problems. It did have some really, really broken weapons in it. But overall, I look back on this season pretty fondly. At number 2 today, guys, I've got Chapter 4 Season 2 Mega. And yeah, this is an absolutely fantastic Fortnite season. Not only do I love the theme, I think that kind of whole Neo Tokyo vibe is fantastic, but also I think this is one of the best Fortnite seasons of all time. Firstly, Mega City is a goated location. It is in my top 10, probably top 5 best locations we've ever seen. I think the Battle Pass is pretty decent. Think about mid-game objectives like the introduction of Loot Island. That is a great mechanic that was added in this season. We also got the legendary Slurp Juice, a top 5, top 3 healing item ever. Instant full health and shield essentially, and you can stack multiple. I mean, this meta was absolutely insane. You had an overclocked pulse rifle, a Havoc pump shotgun, the pre-nerf kinetic blade, legendary Slurp Juices. I mean, it's crazy. The loot pool is stacked with new items that were really, really good. Like, think to Showdown right now in Chapter 7, Season 2. The meta is essentially just weapons that are unvaulted. The meta in this season was basically all brand new items, which is why this season felt so fresh. The Havoc pump shotgun is the first shotgun, in my opinion, that ever, truly dethroned the regular pump as being the best shotgun of all time. Now, obviously, you had the combat shotgun before it got nerfed in Season 9, and then now you've got the Gatekeeper and, plenty of other shotguns, but at the time, it was crazy to say that there was any other shotgun ever that was better than the Gold Spaz and the Havoc. That was the case, especially in the Mythic version. You had great collabs, for example, the one that brought the ODM gear. That's a fan-favorite item that absolutely goes down as one of the best mobility items ever. I will say, new augments felt incredibly mid, just nothing really memorable there. You had a huge Star Wars update that added the brand new lightsabers with the unique functions, unlike the old ones. You also got the new version of Ranked, which was a much needed and probably significant upgrade over Arena. You also got the Spider-Verse web shooters in this season. Don't forget about that. And fortunately, you do have the addition of Sniper Glare, which as a sniper player, I completely hated this update, and I still hate that it's in the game today, but I understand why. Like, every modern shooter has Sniper Glare. And I'm sure you guys can tell, right? It's very difficult for me to find anything negative to say about this season, and if you wanted to put it at the #1 spot, I think you could absolutely make that argument, and this is, without a doubt, one of the best Fortnite seasons we have ever seen, let alone Season 2's, but obviously, it's not the #1 spot, so I think it's time to get to that spot, guys, and you obviously know what it's going to be. At #1 today, guys, it shouldn't be a surprise. Chapter 2, Season 2, Spies, is the best Season 2 of all time. It's also the best Fortnite season we've ever gotten. I mean, really, where do I start? For me, personally, this is Fortnite's peak. I know the numbers won't necessarily support that. Like, there were more active players in the season like Chapter 4 Season OG, but to me, this is the peak of Fortnite. If you asked anybody who has played over the entirety of Fortnite's lifespan, they will tell you Chapter 2 Season 2 is really, really up there. I think a lot of that has to do with nostalgia. Like, definitely, it was during the pandemic. I remember playing Chapter 2 Season 2 all day for literally 6 hours while I had my school work open on the side on a Zoom class. It is definitely helped out by those circumstances that were going on. I still think this season would have flourished regardless of those extenuating circumstances. The Battle Pass was fantastic. The characters really had story. They had life to them. They had their own unique cutscenes that added personality to the skins in a way that we had never seen before up to that point. The game forced you to pick a faction, right? That was either Ghost or Shadow. That's genius. It made you feel like you were really supporting a cause within the game, and that is also something that Chapter 7 Season 2 Showdown has done really well. Even better, actually. It's without a doubt one of the best theme seasons we've ever seen. I mean, you've got the introduction of the shakedown mechanic. You've got the introduction of henchmen. You've got the introduction of phone booths that allowed you to disguise your skin. And I can't even really begin to talk about the map changes. You had each Battle Pass character who had their own unique location, and each one felt completely different. The rig felt completely different than the agency, which felt different than the grotto and the shark, and so on. It's not just that these POIs looked cool either. They're all incredibly well fleshed out with locations with great loot and great mythics for the most part. And remember, this is the first season to really flesh out mythic items. Obviously, you had the Infinity Blade and the Infinity Gauntlet. Those are mythic items, but I do acknowledge that most of these mythics, like Bruce's minigun, like Midas' drum gun, they totally destroyed the balance of a lot of matches, but they gave you something to do during the game. It was no longer just, pray you get good loot out of a chest and try and win the game. It was, let me loot as fast as possible at retail and then rotate to the grotto and try and get Brutus's minigun. It was like there was a game inside the game. The mythics were all unique in their own way, and besides Deadpool's dualies and maybe TNT's Kaboombo, they were all pretty usable. You had the introduction of Choppas. The entire Deadpool collab was amazing. So well done, so well worked into the season. He literally had his own menu in the Battle Pass, just his his weapons were terrible. This is just an unreal, completely fantastic Fortnite season. Again, I think it's the best Fortnite season of all time, and that is why it is at number 1 today. Alrighty, folks. Well, I hope you went on to enjoy that video. It certainly looks different than the last time that I made this video, so let me know in the comment section down below what you thought of this ranking. Let me know where you think I went right and where you think I went wrong. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. As always, peace.